the day we landed, they chose not to oppose us. So we went right ashore, and then it was a matter of, well, as soon as we turned and started facing the both ends of the island, you know, we went right across the middle of the island, cut in two. And then when we turned to move forward, that's when it started, maybe a day or two. Some of them hit it the same day. Some of the units. Our division turned north, and we went. That was 2/3 of the island. We just worked on that part of the island. In fact, we secured the whole 3/4 of the island in month and a half, I think it was, about a month maybe. And the others turned south, and when we come back, they were right where we left them. The line, they formed a line and stopped them right there.
Punch Parker and the 29th Marines would face some 50,000 Japanese troops around the medieval fortification known as Shuri Castle. The fighting around the Shuri line would long be remembered as some of the most bloody and savage in the history of the Marine Corps. Led by General Mitsuru Ushijima, the 32nd Imperial Japanese Army would unleash a murderous barrage of artillery, mortars, and machine gun fire on the exposed Marines.
The Battle of Okinawa was a little different from a lot of battles. You didn't see who you were shooting at normally. They were dug into the hills. They had caves all through the hills, had their hospitals, their living quarters and everything right inside the mountain. And they would just come to the opening and shoot at you and drop mortars on you and shoot artillery at you and then duck back in the hole. You had to go up to them. And that's what made it so difficult to finally take it over. And they'd let you go by them sometime and then come up behind you. They'd just duck back in the hole till you got past them, and then they'd tell you on both sides. So we got caught in that several times. See a bunch of pigs in a pig pen, that'd be just about what you had, because you had no way to take. Well, you couldn't afford to stop and take off your shoes, even your shoes, because you might have to get up and run. You'd go off right on the front line. Sometimes you would stay for 2 weeks, and after they beat you down, you didn't have many people left. They'd go send another company in and let you come back. We'd go back maybe a mile or two and camp around the artillery gun except to protect them while we were recuperating and getting some more people back in. And then they would bring us, well, we'd find some ditch someplace to take a bath.
Day-to-day progress in defeating the enemy was measured in yards in the blood-stained soil. In 1 week, the 6th Division would take over 2,000 casualties. The Sugarloaf Hill changed hands a dozen times. This battle was the turning point of the entire campaign on Okinawa.
I had a roster, company roster, out of 250 people. We had, I figured out 87%, but according to the records, they had 90% for casualties in that 3 months. That in about 3 months.
The flooded battleground around the Shuri line degenerated into a grotesque, barren subtropical wasteland, poisoned by a witch's brew of blood, mud, rotting corpses, flies, maggots, and lead. It was said that anyone sliding down the greasy slopes could easily find their pockets full of maggots at the end of the journey.
Believe it or not, the best way that I saw and a lot of others saw to handle the stress of combat was joke about it. It was not a joke, but you know, you would joke about how close some guy got, like getting killed or something. You know, you say, "Hey, you really beat him today." You know, just it was a joke. You had to make jokes out of it, because if you start getting morbid about it, you'd end up with combat fatigue. It'll blow your mind. And I've heard people ask you if you were scared in combat. Scared? No. Stood in fear? Yes. Because a scared man is no good to you. I don't want nobody with me scared, because he'll cause you to get killed every time. They'll do something stupid. I think they probably lost 400 ships, of our ships in the harbor during that battle. In fact, I read in some stuff since then, said it was the most costly and the bloodiest battle that the Navy had ever fought in its history. I mean, in manpower and equipment.